Welcome to Negotiating Happiness, the show that helps you find happiness, success, and balance in your work and life. I'm Adriana, your host for this journey into entrepreneurship and personal growth. We're broadcasting live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans as part of the United Public Radio Network. We explore the latest strategies, insights, and stories from successful entrepreneurs and experts. From managing stress to building a thriving business, we've got you covered. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Adriana, your host of Negotiating Happiness. And today is October the 20th, 2025. I can't believe we are almost at the end of the year. I am here with the lovely Rita Savoia. She is the founder of Breathwork Barista. So everybody grab your coffee, grab your lunch. Happy Monday, and let's just get into it. Again, you are live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network. And please remember that we are live. So if you guys want to send in your questions and comments, we will happily feature you and answer any questions that you may have. Hi, Rita. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me, and happy Monday to you as well.
Thank you. Let's do a bit of an intro here. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on today. So you guys may have already read what our episode is about, but I will be catching up with Rita in this heart-centered conversation. Rita will share her wisdom on cultivating resilience through breathwork and mindset shifts, reconnecting with your authentic self to overcome imposter syndrome, and sustaining high performance without sacrificing your well-being, which who doesn't want that, right? We'll be discussing how to manage burnout, balance ambitious goals with self-compassion, and reclaim your power through practical, accessible daily tools that will reduce stress and enhance clarity. So who is Rita? Rita is a certified nutritionist, functional breathing coach, workplace wellbeing consultant, and the founder of the Rita Savoia Holistic Wellbeing and Breathwork Barista, a signature breathwork experience designed to be as accessible and energizing as your daily coffee ritual. Her journey into holistic health began by reversing her own polycystic ovarian syndrome and supporting her mother's mental health using natural self-care tools like mindset work, detoxing, nutrition, and breathwork. After burning out in a high-pressure career in HR and performance coaching, Rita turned inward to heal. When conventional medicine offered few answers, she reclaimed her energy and vitality through holistic healing. Today, she facilitates transformational breathwork experiences around the world and partners with organizations to deliver workplace well-being programs that support emotional release, nervous system regulation, and sustainable performance for leaders and their teams. Rita's work is rooted in the belief that true well-being comes from aligning the mind, body, and heart, and that each of us holds the power to create meaningful, lasting change from within. If you guys can't stick around for the whole episode, just remember we're going to be on the archives, or you can just come back to my page and find our link. My apologies, guys. Really quick update. You guys probably have seen a lot of my content lately. We've been doing the Support the Blazer campaign, and we have the gala on Saturday. And we had a blast, and we were trying to connect with everybody there. There were so many people there. We were having such a great time. I found myself talking over the music a lot, not thinking that I would be live today. So this is my mistake on this part. Maybe this is part of burnout, Rita.
Yeah, and maybe I'll do all the talking. Don't worry about it. I got you. I got you, sister.
Thank you. There we go. We've got Mel coming in saying hello. Hello, Mel. How are you? So Rita, tell us a little bit about what Breathwork Barista is and how you sort of came up with the idea.
Yes, for sure. It's one of my favorite topics. So, as you mentioned, I went through my own healing journey, and oftentimes people that end up doing the work are people that are they went through their own journey and they're just so grateful and just in awe on how much it worked for them that they're like, hey, if it works for me, it's definitely going to work for everyone. So this is why I'm here teaching breath work through different experiences. I do a lot of functional breathing. So if there are certain issues or scenarios, then we can look at, for example, I'm helping clients with public speaking, fear of public speaking, anxiety, stress, depression, energy as well, right? And you can use the breath for that. And then I also teach experiences. I'd love for you to experience it one day as well. So I do these in person as well as online. And the reason being was specifically breath work. So I've been a like wellness in terms of what it's done to me, and also helped my family members. And that's when I was helping all my family members with these beautiful modalities and different things that were supernatural, in terms of if you think our great grandparents, they were doing them, just as an everyday thing, and here we need to make time for them, which blows my mind. But anyway, we're going back to that, right? And
Right.
so then I decided to say, hey, wait a minute, I want to get paid for this. This is what I want to do. I knew that I wasn't going to die as CHRO of a big company or something like that. I knew I was meant for more than that, or maybe more, for me at least, more meaningful work, to be of service. And that's when I decided to switch to careers, go into the wellness space. But the breath work, particularly, it helped me to grieve my aunt's passing. So we hold, according to Chinese medicine, grief in our lungs. And one way to help, because really you can never get over grief, you just learn to live alongside the grief, is breathing, is to use the lungs to help you grieve a loved one. But not only a loved one, even just a job of a loss or a relationship or just anything, really, to really help. The breath can help you do that. And so when I saw the changes in me, because she actually left us in 2021 in January, and she stopped talking to the family, like in September was the last time I spoke to her, really. And so I knew that I wanted to say goodbye. And so it was such a beautiful way to connect with not only her, but also parts of myself that I had no idea that, I was disconnected from. And maybe this might sound a little too woo-woo for some people, but we can get the breath, it's actually a bridge to our subconscious, right? And our unconscious mind. So we
Yeah.
can actually go that way, but we can also be very practical with the breath. And that's why I love it. And that's what I do a lot of corporate wellness.
Yeah.
We very, very practical. I mean, we can do a breath work technique right now. And
Yeah.
I am sure the viewers and listeners will be like, wow, like I love this. So this one is called.
We're okay with woo woo here, just so you know.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so
Yeah.
then I can, yes, because sometimes I have to be like, whoa, I need to see what what is acceptable, and
Yeah.
maybe not go too far. But yes, I agree. So yes, it allowed me to really connect with her, and that's when, for me, it was like, wow, like if it did that, like how. I need to be teaching this to other people. Why? Because breathing is free. Once you know a technique, then you go ahead and you incorporate it into your daily routine, right? It's free. It's versatile. You can bring it anywhere you want, right? Because it's through the nose and the mouth and the lungs that you carry with you every day. So that's when I knew that I wanted to do this, right? And I've had some beautiful stories, Adriana, since I started in 2021 that I got certified, of people just, there was a man after the experience, he was able to release that resentment he had for his mom.
Right.
And just like after 50 years of resentment, he's like, that's it. I'm just done. I'm over it. I don't want to carry this stuff with me anymore, because a lot of our issues are in our tissues. And sometimes talk therapy can work. It's beautiful. But a lot of times you can't solve the problem with the same mechanism that created it. Albert Einstein, right, says that. So sometimes talk therapy is great. I'm not discounting it. We need it. It's beautiful. But sometimes we need to use the body to allow those issues to leave somatically, right? To leave our actual system, because they get stuck there. Because
So
oftentimes we don't close that stress loop. We get stressed, there's some sort of traumatic experience, and then we don't close it like normal, the normal process to close that.
So let's just back up a little bit for people that are listening who don't know. Can you explain what somatic means, or somatic movement? Because this is something that not everybody will be familiar with. But before that, I just wanted to sort of out, I guess, highlight the portion where we're sort of in this transition period where our generations, before and after kind of thing, they're starting to realize more and more that it's not just about the physical body when you're sick, for example. So we started focusing a lot on mental health, but I just don't think that people see the connection. Like, everything is connected, right? So like between our mental well-being and our body, or we think that they're two separate things. But what you're
Right.
saying in breath work is that actually you
Mhm.
need to work mentally at the same time with your physical body in order to get the best benefits possible, right? So
Correct.
why don't you tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about what the somatic movement or the feelings are?
That's exactly it. And interestingly, it's making a comeback because if
Yeah.
you go back to Chinese medicine, like thousands of years ago, and even Ayurvedic medicine, which is the Indian from India, they talk about the whole body mind connection, right?
Yeah.
And even yoga, yoga actually means the unity of the body, the mind, and the soul and the spirit, right? It's just not it's not just about the postures, which the Western world thinks it's just the postures. No, the breath is huge part of yoga, and because it connects you to the mind and the spirit, right? So yeah, so soma, which means the body, somatic, which means releasing through the body. So somatic practices, somatic movement, it's actually a release through the body. And that's why, I mean, I'm sure you've done some of that over the weekend. Dancing feels so good, right? Because
Yeah.
we are releasing all the tension, all the stress. Oftentimes, we're in a very good environment, so we're releasing endorphins as well, and that's why dancing feels so good because we're literally moving our bodies. Movement of the body feels so good. Incorporating the breath into that just amplifies its benefits. It's a really good effects. So it's such a beautiful way to actually incorporate the body, the mind, and the spirit or the soul into your healing practice, right? Because as you mentioned, it's not just physical. And there's a beautiful book by Louise Hay. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her. She's the queen of affirmations. Sadly, she has passed, but she's left a beautiful legacy behind. And she's actually written a book on how to heal your body with certain ailments or diseases, right? When your body's not in harmony, when it's not at ease, and if
Yeah.
things are flowing beautifully, they manifest physically. It's emotions that actually are not taken care of, or maybe swept under the carpet, or you don't, maybe some traumatic experiences that you've had have yielded some emotional responses, and you don't deal with it, whether it's big T or little t, right? It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter the magnitude of the trauma. Then it just gets stuck in the body, and then it manifests through different ailments and diseases and discomforts in the body itself. So it's a really, really cool book to pick up. And so by using the breath, for example, to breathe in a particular way to that part of the body, you allow it to release that emotion that's actually stuck
Right.
there.
Right. And I see it now trending online where people are doing like somatic workouts, right? They're
Yes.
specifically focusing on those kinds of releases. So that's also
Mhm.
an option
Mhm.
for people. So you know that I work primarily with entrepreneurs and small businesses. If you were to approach somebody who is, you know, in the headspace of always having to create and always having to upkeep, you feel like you've got all these plates up in the air, right?
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
would you say to them would be something really simple or really practical to do in order
Mhm.
to avoid burnout or even see it coming or acknowledging that burnout is on the way? What would you say to them?
Yes. Okay. So it's me too, by the way. I'm there as well. And even
Me
if
too.
when I, you know what I mean? Even if I teach
Yeah,
this stuff and I know it, I also fall victim to some of these things because we
for
just want
sure.
to do so much, right? And most entrepreneurs love what they're doing. So for me, if I'm working at 9 o'clock in the evening, and I have people saying, "What are you doing working?" But I'm like, I'm loving this. I'm loving this content creation, right? This is what I love to do. But yes, recognizing it first, there are multiple signs that you're doing too much. You're not sleeping properly. It's hard for you to fall asleep. It's hard for you to
Yeah.
actually turn that off. Then that's going to eventually lead to a burnout, right? Because we need that time to rest. So this is where my sort of nutrition, I'm also the founder of the Savoia self-care method. So these are 6 pillars, foundational pillars of self-care. They can be foundational pillars of longevity. They can be foundational pillars of health, but sleep is super important. So when your sleep is not optimal, so there's something going on. You're not falling asleep easily. You're waking up during the night. You're waking up too early. That is a huge, huge sign that something is not right. That is your
Right.
body. Because remember, signs and symptoms from your body just doesn't do that randomly. Okay. These are signs and symptoms that something is off, right? Something is not in balance. Your body and your brain just want to keep you alive. They want to keep everything in homeostasis, in beautiful balance, right? Our bodies are so intricately designed and just so beautifully designed that everything works so well when you give it the raw materials and you support it. But when your sleep is off, when you're feeling aches and pains, right? When you are, believe it or not, when you sigh a lot of sighing, that's stress, that's anxiety, right? That's your sympathetic nervous system, which is that upper chest shallow breathing, telling you, whoa, 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 something is wrong. Like you're not feeling safe. We are detecting that you're not safe, you're not supported. And remember, your brain cannot tell the difference between perceived stress and real stress. Real stress is, oh my God, somebody's about to kill me. I got to run, right? I got to engage that sympathetic nervous system so that, all the blood goes away from my vital organs and into my extremities so I can fight, flight, or freeze, right? Or hide from my whoever predator. But if you have this deadline coming up, you have a client meeting coming up, you have something really important coming up, the body and the brain is going to actually go into that mode automatically because that's what it's perceiving. It's perceiving that stress and anxiety, right? So the same cascade of hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline, that would actually funnel through the body when we are in real danger, the same thing is gonna happen because your body just wants to protect you, wants to keep you alive. So that shallow chest breathing, those sighs, if you catch yourself sighing a lot, right? Those are all signs that something is off. It's not right, right? Fatigue, right? So a really good one, I have two. Can I share two? So shaking. I love shaking. And if you don't want to shake, you can dance, you can do whatever. Just move your body in between client calls, okay? Or in between important sort of meetings, right? So that if it was specifically if it was a stressful conversation or if it was a stressful meeting, we want to close that stress loop, right? It happened, maybe cortisol was rushed through the bloodstream, right? And other different hormones to protect you. So you just want to close that stress loop. You just want to shake it off, like literally jump up and down, do some jumping jacks, whatever it is, or maybe shake your booty like you would, be shaking to your favorite song, right? Just really shake off that, because then you tell your body, take a couple of deep breaths after that as well. But then you're telling your body, hey, that was a very stressful moment, but I'm okay now. I survived it. So you close that loop. So it doesn't think that you're stuck in that fight or flight. So shaking and movement in between client calls, important or very stressful situations, for sure, that has to happen. And I have actually, so I do this right before the experience. And I have a client, look how cool this is. And this is what I love about the experience is you take any of the breathing techniques that we actually do and you bring them into your everyday routines, right? So he comes in from work every day, parks his car in his garage, shakes off the day, like literally shake, so that he doesn't take all the BS that happened at work into the home. It literally stays there and it's shaken off and it's done.
What a great reminder too, to not do that, or to
Yes.
say, I have a ritual that allows me to leave everything at the door, because it's easier said than done, right?
Yes.
And we have a comment here from Mel, Supportive Solutions. She says, great question. This answer is so simple. I feel like so many of us don't pick up on these things. This was in response to all the things that you were saying, to watch out, like your body gives you signs.
Right.
Thank you for your comment, Mel. Yeah, that makes sense, because we're just so wrapped up in our day-to-day and what's going to happen tomorrow, and I have to make dinner when I get home, that
Yes.
you're right, just having that little ritual before you kind of get through, it might actually help you get rid of some. And I've actually thought about this on how because I have a young son, right? And how kids respond to dance parties. They're in way better moods after. We'll say, well, we're having a 5-minute dance break, and
Yes,
they're
exactly.
shaking. They're shaking. They're letting all their worries, and I think we have as a society, we have the tendency to dismiss children's feelings a lot easier, because we think that they don't have the same caliber of problems that we do. But in reality, they do. It's just on a different level. So it's such a good little kind of like tidbit just to get your family even in the rhythm of doing
Yes.
it,
Oh,
right?
I actually have a breathing technique for kids too, and I
Oh,
love
do
it.
you?
Yes, but I mean, a lot of these breathing
Yeah.
techniques can also be easily transferable to young kids, but they're actually
Yeah.
a lot more receptive to it because they don't have all that, all that conditioning really. Oh,
Yeah. I was like,
this
this
is
is
dumb.
weird. Like,
This
this is
is
not
stupid.
weird.
It's
Yeah.
so easy. What do you mean it
Yeah.
changes my state, right? But I
Yeah.
do have
Yeah.
the humming breath or the buzz breath, and that can
Mhm.
also be something that you can add after the shaking, before the shaking.
Right.
So, have you heard of nitric oxide?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Usually
Yeah.
people say no, Adriana. So then my follow-up question is, have you heard of Viagra? And I was like, of course I have. Well, it
Sure.
is a main component, and it's also they were giving it for to help recover from COVID as well because it opens up capillaries. It's an vasodilator. So it's a molecule that we produce through the nose primarily. If we mouth breathe, we produce a little bit, but we produce a lot more when we nose breathe. That's why nasal breathing is so important. We should be
So
nasal
important.
breathing
Yeah.
99% of the times,
Yeah.
because I always say this and it gets a little chuckle, but breathing through the mouth is so ridiculous. It's not meant to do. It's like eating through the nose. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and a lot of people don't realize the only reason why I'm familiar with it is because I had like mild sleep apnea before, so I had to do a lot of research on
Mhm.
how to do this. I have to say, Rita, you had in the intro, right, that you also had polycystic ovarian syndrome. I can relate. I have that. Like, a lot of these things have affected me as well. I'm always
Mhm.
really grateful when my guests share parts of their personal life. So thank you for that. But
Oh,
also, I
thank
want other people that are listening to understand that just because, we're on a public platform or whatever the case may be, like, it's okay to be relatable. This is
you.
how you
Right.
create your authentic community, right? So I'm really
Exactly.
grateful, Rita, that you're here to sort of teach us not only how to be better in our, professional relationships, but also just how to create these little rituals with your
Yes.
families for
Thank
their
you.
well-being, right?
Yes. So for me, I got to the root cause of my PCOS and it was
Mhm.
blood sugar dysregulation.
Yep.
So once I regulated my blood sugar, the endocrine system, which is our hormonal system, self corrected. And that's the beauty
Mhm. Mhm.
of functional medicine, right? It's looking at the root causes, but also looking at the system, at the body as a whole, as opposed to more conventional medicine that looks
Yeah.
at silos, right? And
Yeah.
doesn't see how other systems interact. But okay, so the humming, going back to the humming
Yes.
breath, is
Sorry.
so when we breathe through the nose, we actually increase that production of nitric oxide, right? It accumulates a lot faster and more of it than mouth breathing.
Yeah.
But when we hum through the nose, and now there are research that says it's like 15 times, 7 times more, but you are actually producing more nitric oxide. So humming, believe it or not, is a breathing technique. And this is why it's so easy to teach this to your children because they're doing it anyway, right? They're humming their favorite song. They're just like humming away. And with my entrepreneurs and also professionals, when I teach this to them, I literally just say, when you want to nod or like say or agree, be in agreement, just hum. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You're actually doing a breathing technique, and nobody has to know you're doing a breathing technique. Or you can
Right.
literally hum your favorite song. So humming, so it's basically humming through the nose. So the exhales would be obviously it's a lot easier to hum through the nose with the exhale. So you inhale. And then, and for me, we do 3 of these, Adriana, and instantaneously, I feel more relaxed. And it's
Yeah.
because of that nitric oxide,
Yeah.
literally dilating, making those capillaries, arteries, like a lot more bigger. And
Yeah.
it just feels so beautiful because there's more oxygen going
Yeah.
to each and every single cell.
So, see, it's not just the placebo effect. This is actually science. And yet again,
Yes.
yet another concept that shows us that everything is connected. We are connected, right? Whether it's
Hmm.
your mind, body, spirit, or the person next to you. And as much as, we like to think that we're in control over everything, we're not quite in control all the time. We're in control of the decisions that we want to make. So this is really important for us to have these tools, right? So that we can make better decisions for ourselves and everyone around. But think about when you're feeling off and the person next to you is having a conversation, but they can feel that you're off. So obviously they're in your field of energy and they can feel it.
Hmm.
Not only are you able to use these tools for yourself, but it's also for the people around you.
Yes.
Because a relaxed Adriana is probably way more pleasant than a really burnt out Adriana, right?
Exactly. And the thing is with when we're burnt out, when we're stressed, we literally turn off that prefrontal cortex, right?
Yeah.
Which is that rational decision making. And that's why when there is a transplant, like an organ transplant, they actually give you stress hormones so that you shut it off so that you can actually receive the transplant,
I
right? So
didn't know that.
it's crazy. So we're not able to think clearly when we are under stress. So that's another thing that I would totally recommend is if you're feeling super stressed, go for a walk. Please take a walk in nature.
Yeah.
Nature is the most therapeutic. And I have a podcast as well,
Yeah.
and I always ask at the end of the podcast is what are your top 3 these professionals, these amazing people that are doing so many great things. They're super busy, right? Most of them entrepreneurs as well. What
Yeah.
is the top 3 thing? And the number one, so over what now, 4 or 5 years that I've been doing this, 5 years, it's walking in nature. Making the time to
Mhm.
take a walk in nature, because then that will actually help you to calm down. And it doesn't even have to be in nature. It can literally just be outside. Like just get out of that stressful situation. So then again, you're dealing with the stress loop, right? You're closing that stress loop, and then you're just taking a little breather, right? Taking a break. Like the best ideas, I don't know about you, but they're always in the shower for me, right? Or they're always when I'm walking, when I'm not really
Yeah.
thinking about
Yeah.
like the problem. So we want to give it that break. Also, when you're out in nature, the negative ions of Mother Nature offset the positive ions of all these things that are around us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
this technology. And the best time to actually go out for a walk in nature is after a rainfall, because then that
Mhm.
actually there's more of the negative ions around and you can just smell it. It just smells so good
Yeah.
after rainfall,
But
right?
isn't it the Japanese where
Yeah,
doctors
exactly.
literally prescribe nature
Forest
walks for
bathing.
forest
Yes,
bathing? Yeah.
forest bathing. They're it's in their prescription. Yes. And also I think
Yes.
different I'm not sure if it's China or Japan that they actually doctors get paid on how well their patients are, not how sick their
Isn't
patients
that
are.
amazing?
It's not sick care, it's health care. That's true health
Yes,
care.
that's amazing. That's
Yes,
amazing.
but
Yeah.
forest bathing, yes, grounding if you can,
Yeah.
go barefoot. I don't recommend it in parks because they spray them with pesticide though, but in
Yeah.
your own backyard if you don't use it,
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend doing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Gardening without gloves, maybe not for, maybe when you first start and then you put them on after if you're in the garden for a while
I
or you're
loved as a kid sticking our hands
yes,
in
in
mud, in the
mud.
dirt, and
I
everything.
know.
We're
Um,
so much more intuitive as children
I
than
know.
we
I
are as
know.
adults. We've totally shut off that part because I get manicures. Imagine just me just kind of like going in and it just seems so
Mm,
counterproductive, but it's actually what we crave, right?
mhm.
Yeah, oh, we've got here. Hi, Heidi. It's good day, Adriana and Rita. She's saying hello from Boulder, Colorado.
Hi.
Amazing. Hi, Heidi. And she's saying that is amazing. Oh, there's Dana. Dana Giroux says great recommendations.
Hi.
Thanks so
Hi,
much for
Dana.
tuning in, guys. We love hearing from you. Well, there's Heidi with the mud pies. I know. I'm telling you, I used to make lots of
Right?
those when I was a kid,
Yes.
right?
We just
Yeah.
gotta go back. We gotta go back to being kids again, and don't grow
Yes,
up.
I do love so I currently can't really see it here, but there's like a forest, a little bit of a forest behind me, and then behind that there's another development, right? So I'm not quite out in the country where I'd like to be, but just the fact that I'm surrounded by
Mhm.
trees
Yeah.
makes such a big difference for me. And I know that we spend quite a bit of our time as a society, just like, oh, like you're such a tree hugger, just making jokes of that nature.
Oh, I am.
But that's literally just how you need to embrace this because look at me, I'm staring in front of I
Right?
have 2
Mm,
screens that I look at like 10 hours a day. You have to be
mm.
able to remove yourself and have these tools to be able to balance yourself in nature again. Without
I
those, it's
agree.
it's bad. So,
I agree. Or you can bring it to you, right? I see a
right.
plant, I think, behind you. So
I have a
plants are
ton of plants
amazing.
outside. Yeah.
Plants are amazing.
Yeah.
Essential oils are really good as well,
Yeah, yeah,
Adriana.
yeah.
Like if you
Yeah.
if you take a little sniff of frankincense, that like
Mhm.
will bring you to a forest right away. So
Yes.
again, the olfactory actually bypasses some of the brain states, so we can right away feel super relaxed. Right, it
Yeah.
doesn't go through the logical part of
Yeah.
the brain. It just right away goes to the limbic brain, which is the oldest part of the brain, and it'll relax you
Yeah.
like instantaneously. Essential oils are amazing as well.
For sure. For sure.
Mhm.
Just before I forget here, guys, that actually this is how I met Rita, was through Dana. So shout out to Dana for introducing us
Yeah.
at one of the events. Um, Dana's been on the show a couple of times, so she's also out there doing wonderful things for entrepreneurs and other people alike, right? So
Yeah, we
I
love
love it. I
Anna.
love it when I get to meet such wonderful people that have so much purpose in what it is that they do in their jobs, right? Like obviously we all have bills to pay, but at the same time, it's helping people in any sort of way, right? So I love that. We are at halfway through already because we're having such a great time. I feel like time's already flying by. So we're just gonna do a quick station intro. Before I do that, guys, I've posted in the comments here Rita's podcast. I was able to find the Apple link. So it is called the Self-Care Goddess podcast. If you guys want to check out Rita's episodes, I'll post it. I mean, you'll find it in the archives as well in the comments on our pages if you wanted to tune in. And oh, there's Dana. She says, "My pleasure. Strong women empowering each other." That's all. That's what it's about, right? Empowered people empower other people. So I love that.
I love
Thank
that
you,
too.
Dana.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Let's do a quick station intro. So, for those of you that are just tuning in, you are listening to Negotiating Happiness, and I am your host, Adriana Fierstro. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in the beautiful city of New Orleans. If you guys wanted to watch some of our shows on Roku TV, just type in UFO Paranormal and you'll grab the channel there. I am here with Rita Savoia, and we are talking about how to avoid burnout, or what is beyond burnout. And you guys were tuning in the middle of talking about breathwork techniques and other tools to help minimize the stress or the perceived stress. We're learning lots about real stress, perceived stress, and other methods of healthcare, basically, right? Which I always say that I'm grateful that we have free healthcare here in Canada. And I know our American friends have options as well for healthcare down there, right? But I wish that we would take more of a proactive role in prevention rather than treatment. So I love hearing about all of these different techniques that other countries embrace, right? We're talking about forest bathing in Japan. I love that. I feel like I'm at home walking through a forest, right? So Rita, tell us a bit about, like, if you wanted to do a bit of an exercise, we just went through a little bit of humming. You're talking about how that's probably the best technique for kids to do, right? Because they're already doing it. Is there like a breathwork technique they wanted to take us through a little bit? Maybe
Yes.
watching can do it with us.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So there's a very sort of, this one also came and did a bit of a comeback. We've known about it since the 70s. It's called the physiological sigh. And if anyone listens to Andrew Huberman, he's really popularized it and brought it back to sort of mainstream. But I love it because we only need about 3 breaths to really help us calm down. So this is when you're really freaking out. Okay. This is when you're really feeling that blood rushing to your head and you're just like, oh my God, this is too stressful. It's too anxious. So what we're going to do is actually use 2 breaths in through the nose. The second one is going to be slightly shorter than the first. So we're going to inhale. So we're going to do 2 of those. And then we're going to exhale out through the mouth with a sigh and just extending that exhale, right? So let's try that together. So 2 inhales. The second one is a little shorter, and then out through the mouth. Let's try that. One more. How do you feel, Adriana?
Good. You know what just rushed into my head right now? So I did judo for a very long time, a long time ago. And our coach, what we did, our cool down techniques were after we were done fighting, which you're literally in fight or flight mode. That is a technique that he used to make us breathe through.
Interesting.
It would be short and then out, short, 2 shorts and then out. That is amazing. I'm going to go and message him right after.
Yes, that it came back after so many years. But if you think about it, I'm going to do like a little demonstration of it, and then you tell me what it reminds you of, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
when we're
It's
crying hysterically.
yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yes,
That's what happened because our body, again, remember, it's so smart. It innately
yeah,
has these tools. We just need to kind of reconnect with them again or find them again and make them as part of our everyday. But our
yes,
body naturally does that when to calm us down after we're crying so
yeah,
hard, right? So
yeah,
we just kind of take it a little bit more of a
yeah.
controlled version of it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
see, Mel's chiming in. So Mel did judo as well. She says, I was just going to say, I forgot about this. I'm telling you, Coach Ron Angus at Full Circle Judo Club, he knew what he was doing. And Tracy too, Tracy Angus. There are senseis, right? They had lots of coaching experience and obviously
Mhm.
lots of certifications. And that's hilarious that this is now coming again full
Full
circle here too.
circle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
I do have a quick story, a legend apparently that the last test for a samurai, once he's like right before he gets his, I guess, certification, he
Yeah.
has to do one last breathing technique because it's all about breathing as well, right? Over there and in that in every sport, really. So the technique that they have to pass before they get, fully I guess certified is they put a feather under their nose, and if the feather moves, they have to control their breath to that level of detail. If the feather moves, then they're not going to pass the actual certification. But if the feather doesn't move, which means they're breathing really really light and controlled,
Wow.
then yes, that is the last test that they do. And because yes, we should be breathing when it comes to breathing, Adriana, less is more. We actually want to breathe less. So we think that,
Interesting.
when we take deep breaths, we gotta no, we want to act what we mean by deep. There's an acronym. It's LSD and not the drug, but light.
Perfect.
I know, right? It's easy to remember. 3 letters:
Yeah.
light, slow, and deep. So light meaning think of a feather, like you don't want to actually be like your breathing shouldn't be audible, right?
Yeah.
Slow, if you can, 6 counts in, 6 counts out whenever possible, like right, like when you're at
Right.
your desk, when you're scrolling, when you're walking. That's a really good walking technique to actually combine with breathing, right? And there's this crazy phenomena now that is called email apnea, and I'm honestly guilty of it too. When you're
Oh.
expecting a really important email, you hold your breath, right? And that's not good. We don't want to be
Hmm.
holding our breath. We want to be holding it intentionally when we're doing breath holds as a breathing technique, but not in our everyday life, right? Because
Rita,
again,
I've got like 15 inboxes to look at. I would probably pass out every day.
exactly. So just to be more aware of that, like, so breathing at that cadence of 6 in, 6 out, 6 counts in, 6 counts out.
Right.
And you want to know another really cool thing? If you look at some of the most traditional prayers, like the Ave Maria and some of the Hindu prayers, the Muslim prayers, the cadence is about 6 in, 6 out,
Mm.
6. Isn't that cool? I'm like, how did they
Yeah.
know that? So like it's because it's such a relaxing cadence, right? And then when we mean deep with the diaphragm. So we want to breathe into the belly area. The diaphragm is one of the largest muscles we have for breathing. And if we don't use it, just like any other muscle, we're going to lose it. So if we want, we can do a little quick technique because people are like, where is my diaphragm? What are you talking about? What's going on? So if you want, you can bring your hands to the end of the rib cage. So
Okay.
right where the end of the rib cage is. And if you want to just
Mm.
kind of cup your hands there and
Yeah.
now breathe normally. And what you should be feeling is an expansion when you inhale, because that's the proper way of breathing. But some of us are doing it reverse in reverse, but that's okay. We can unlearn and relearn. And then when we exhale, we want to contract the actual diaphragm. So you should be feeling this expansion and contraction of the diaphragm. That's the proper way of actually breathing. That's the proper way of breathing deep into the diaphragm. So that's another technique and another thing that you can teach everyone, even your children, to just make sure that they're breathing with the diaphragm and not the upper chest. And that's why if you notice that very famous scene, anytime somebody's having a panic attack, they're breathing into the brown paper bag because they're rebreathing the carbon dioxide, right? They actually want to rebreathe the carbon dioxide to help them oxygenate their cells. Because another mind blowing when I was doing the research was that it's actually the accumulation of carbon dioxide that releases oxygen. So we think that carbon dioxide is just a waste gas. We actually want to conserve the carbon dioxide. We don't want to breathe as much out, because the more we have in our system, the more oxygen gets released. Isn't that crazy?
It's
So that's why
interesting, right?
breathing
Because
slow.
carbon dioxide is the footprint of life, right? So you would
Right.
think that,
Yes.
so
Hmm.
chemically speaking, right? That's how they look for
Yes.
signs of life, is if they could find
Yes.
carbon dioxide. So this makes a lot of sense, right? So
Yes.
yes, while we need oxygen to process it, it's it makes sense that you'd want to have lots of carbon dioxide in there. Yeah.
Yeah, so you
But
wanna
this,
breathe less, breathe light and breathe
right.
deep, and then
Yeah.
obviously mostly through the nose. So that's my little tip. If
Right.
you're gonna go walk away with anything today, that could be it. And then it also happens with practice, right? Because when I first started, I was like, "Well, what do you mean 6 breath? I can't do that." I was like, at 3, you know? So then you kind of build that up. So the best technique, I tell everybody, 10 connected breaths. First thing in the morning, unless you have to really go to the bathroom, then yes, go to the bathroom and then come back to bed. And then do those 10 connected breaths, 6 counts in, 6 counts out. And then everybody's got a few minutes right before they crash, at night in bed, do another 10 in, 10 out, and then just something that you're grateful for. So you bring in that powerful element of gratitude into your life. And that's a breathing technique right there. That's a beautiful evening and morning routine.
Yeah, every time now, maybe I should be doing this a lot sooner, but when we were on our way to school, I talked to my son and I just confirm with him, right? And I just
Mm,
go, okay, so you're going to have a great day today, right? He's like, yep, I'm going to have a great day. It took him the first
beautiful.
couple of times. You could tell how unsure he was of that. And he was like, no. I'm like, no, yes, you have to believe it, that you're gonna have a great day. So this is the kind of sort of goes back to what you're saying. It's like, what are you grateful for? So then
Yes.
set that intention and that mood for the rest of the day,
Yes.
right? So
That's
I'm trying
beautiful.
to do that with him, but I mean, he's a 5-year-old boy, so
Yeah.
sometimes things work
Yeah.
really
He'll
great. Right?
remember.
Yeah, and
Yes.
he's like, well, it's just like magic, right? So he
Yeah.
just accepts it. He doesn't have that preconceived notion of like magic might be hooey. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, I
He's
I
just
can give
like,
you
it's
another technique
magic.
to do with him while you bring him to school is
Yeah.
red lights. I love red lights. I do my
Oh,
breath work at red lights, not with my eyes closed, of course, or no breath
right.
holding during while I'm driving. But what you could do is you can blow bubbles with him. So I actually at every
Mm,
experience, I give everybody a bubble wand, because blowing bubbles is a breathing technique. Why?
yeah,
Because we literally have to breathe in slow, right? And then exhale even slower. And anytime you exhale, or extend the exhale, you're actually tapping into that other side of the nervous system, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. So
right.
you're telling your body you're okay, you're safe, you're good. So you can pretend bubble blowing, or you can actually give them a bubble wand and blow some
Yeah.
bubbles
Well,
before.
we have so many bubbles, Rita.
Exactly. Yes. So yes, you can do
Yeah,
some bubbles at red lights, so that
yeah,
can really help that extension of the exhale to
yeah,
tap
yeah,
into
yeah.
that parasympathetic nervous system.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. We've got a comment here from Heidi, and she says she wishes she would have known about these techniques way earlier in life. So beneficial. She experiences pain from
Mhm.
injuries and tends to hold her breath, and then she's tense and hurt. So the oxygen is needed to alleviate the pain.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, it seems like such a simple thing, but if you think about it, a breath it's a breath of life, right? Like you can't
Yes.
exist without it. So
Mhm.
it makes a lot of sense that we spend some of our time and energy into understanding that, or understanding how our body works. Unfortunately, we're just so wrapped up in day-to-day life that we're just thinking the first thing that happens with pain, people think of, I need painkillers, or I
Mhm.
just need it to stop, rather than saying, okay, what is the pain telling me? What is my body
Mm.
trying to tell me? And because it's usually telling you to stop doing something, or to action it, when in reality all we're thinking of is just, I just want it to stop, without processing the information, because anything that happens in our body is information,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Mhm.
Yeah,
I agree. Mhm.
interesting. So usually towards the end of the show, Rita, I try to get to know a little bit more about whatever's upcoming, and then also about you as a person, because I find that as an entrepreneur, people that want to work one-on-one with us, especially people that have services, you want to know who you're working so closely with. So it's helpful to connect with the particular person, right? So before we move on to that, Heidi says her granddaughter has learned some techniques for anxiety going between her parents' houses, and she just turned 5. We
Mm.
don't give kids enough
I know. Isn't
credit,
that amazing? That's
right?
beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't give
Mhm.
kids enough credit on how resilient they can be and how
Mhm.
receptive to different tools they can be. So it's our job to give them an array of tools that they can, you know, op be open with and learn. So
Yes.
that's
Mm.
amazing, Heidi. I'm so glad. So Rita, tell us a little bit about what you've got upcoming now.
Yes, for sure. So every full moon, I do these experiences virtually. So anyone can join from any part of the world. I mean, they are at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So probably that's sort of that time zone. That's,
Yeah,
yes, in terms of that, maybe not Europe or Asia. But yes, every full moon, they're on there just to celebrate and harness the power of the full moon within the breathing experience. And then bringing in our intention of things that we want to release or let go of. So that's happening every full moon. And then I do these as well in person. And if you are in the Toronto area, there's one coming up on Sunday at a beautiful art gallery. And I'm probably going to do something in November as well. So check my website, upcoming events. It's at right as soon as you homepage, right corner, you'll see upcoming events and you can see the events there. I also do coaching, so breathwork integration coaching. So we incorporate the breath into the coaching process, which becomes really, really valuable and just allows you to go deeper. Again, it's not talk therapy, it goes beyond the talk therapy and helping you within the coaching process. I also have a beautiful community you can join. So we can do all of these amazing things on a bi-weekly and monthly basis so that it can really be ingrained into your routines, morning routines, afternoon routines, evening routines as well.
right. I've just posted, guys, in the comments now um, the online full moon monthly breath work session, and Rita's been kind enough to offer a coupon for us, so just check out the comments. It's breathe 15, and if you go to ritasavoia.com and go through the events, you'll be able to see it there. It's amazing how many events we have available virtually, right? So even if you're not in
Mhm.
the area, this is something to check out. And you've got a corporate women retreat in Mexico coming up, right?
Yes. So we don't have the details yet. So you can definitely
Yeah,
join the waiting list. So I'm putting all of that together soon. But
amazing.
yes, so there is one end of February. So I want to bring together amazing women that are super stressed, super high achievers that really don't have 5 days or like forget 7 days, but they do have 4 days. They can get away with 4 days for 4 days and really reset
Yeah.
and really establish some of those morning routines and evening routines so that they can take them home and feel recharged after these 4 days.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it's February. Everybody needs to go to Mexico in February.
Get that sunshine, vitamin D, baby.
Yeah,
Yes.
vitamin D. And I have to say this because not enough people realize this, but up here in Canada, we
Mm.
are so severely deficient of vitamin D
Mhm.
that it is upsetting, right? Especially women.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
been shown in our blood test that Canadian women are very, very deficient in
Mm.
vitamin D. So we need to stop this. We need to alleviate it somehow. And
Yes.
if you think taking it like 1,000 milligrams a day, like obviously consult your doctor, but I've gone through this myself so many times. A lot of us need prescription strength because
Yes,
we're
yeah, high
so,
doses for sure.
yeah,
So yeah, I would recommend actually taking the test now, Adriana, because October is a really good end of October, November. So you can actually see how much you've actually retained from the summer months, right? From the sun, from the
right.
summer months. So then you know you have a really good baseline to say, hey, I'm only at whatever number it is. I need to actually supplement this much. So the supplementation becomes very personalized to you, not just
Yeah.
in terms of 1,000, which is nothing really. I
It's
use
nothing. No.
nothing, yeah. So then doing
Yeah.
the actual blood work today, like this week or next week, by the end of October, will actually let you know how much to supplement for the rest of the winter.
That's a great tip. Yeah.
Mhm.
But obviously, guys, check with your providers to make sure that this makes
Yes.
sense for you. But as an example, I was taking 50,000 units a week, and it still wasn't enough.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that could also be, the way you're metabolizing it too. Sometimes we need to
For
take it
sure.
more sporadically. You can't take it just all at once. Sometimes it's a DNA, like, sorry, not DNA, a gene, as well, a
Mhm.
gene mutation, which I have.
Mm.
I need to make sure that I, stagger them throughout the day. I can't just take it all at once. So it could be
Oh,
that as well.
interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
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 Mhm.
So, yeah. So, Rita, obviously you've got a lot on the go. You're an entrepreneur, you have a family, you're doing all of these things. What makes it worth it for you? And I'm not talking, I mean, obviously we are all here with a purpose to help, right? But what is it that you do that's kind of like a trade-off, right? So for me, it's like I travel. I get to travel. I get to be flexible. I get to, take my son and all these like wonderful places, meet wonderful people, right? I can't wait till he gets older so he can meet, see everybody sort of in action. So what is that thing for you that makes this whole, I hate the word hustle, but this hustle worth it?
Oh, man, there's so many beautiful things.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's just listening to the transformational stories of after I do the breath work. So there's a component of the experience where we share or not. It's not mandatory, but it's optional. And it's just the transformation that can happen with someone. Like as I mentioned, there was a man that forgave his mom after 50 years. There was a woman not too long ago during a private session. She said that she connected with her younger self, maybe when she was about 5, 6 years old. And she has a 5, 6 year old daughter. And she said, the
Mhm.
way I spoke to myself during the experience, that's how I want to speak to my daughter now. Like it was just such a sweet reminder. I had another lady that said, the experience allowed me to go back to a grateful moment that I had forgotten about. And I can't believe I forgot about that experience. And now I'm just so reliving it every day. I can relive it. So it's those transformational stories that after a 90-minute session, you're just like, wow. Like it just brings joy to me, but also I know I'm bringing joy to them, right, and to their families and their loved ones. So for me, it's listening, and I just can't. The sharing circle is one of my best parts of the experience because it's just mind blowing what people share.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. So in the last few minutes, if there's any message that you might have for somebody that is on the brink of burnout, what would you say to sort of get them started on this? And remember, if you're on the brink of burnout, you probably already don't have much time, right? So what would you
Yeah.
say to them just to sort of get them thinking about it, or getting the gears to start rolling?
Yes, yes. Stop, reset, relax, right? Because again, your body will give you signs and symptoms, and it's no coincidence. There's meaning to behind those signs and symptoms. So just really give yourself that break, that much needed break, because I heard this not too long ago, this beautiful quote that you have 1,000 problems when you are healthy, right? You got so many things going on, so many things
Yeah.
to be anxious, stressed about, worried about, right? But when
Mhm.
you're not healthy, you only have one. That's it.
Right.
So just to go back to that, how important your health is and taking care of yourself for not only yourself, but also to be a role model to your children, right? And not be that person that goes and then burns
Right.
out. So even you just listening to this podcast, right? To this show, it's no coincidence, right? There's a message there
Mhm.
that you were meant to actually listen to. And I often say this, that when you can control your breath, I'm going to bring breathing back into this. When you can control your breath, no one can take away your peace. So
Mhm.
recognizing that you are feeling stressed, you're feeling anxious, that burnout is coming, just regulate it through some practices, right? Some beautiful holistic practices, and most of them are free. And they take nanoseconds, as I mentioned, 10 connected breaths in the morning and evening. Then nobody can take away that peace from you, right? And then
Right.
it's really, that's what we want. We just want to live in harmony and peace and joy, right? And serenity. And you can bring all of that in through the breath, because when the breath is scattered, the mind is scattered, and vice versa, right? So if we want to have a beautiful harmonious life, then bring in the breath to help you achieve that.
Right. Well, thank you so much. You've shown us how to do it. You've given us such great information on such great tools and a lot of alternatives to what we consider, healthcare. And you've taken the time to be here for an hour, so I really appreciate it, Rita.
Thank you.
You guys, if you want to follow along, on what Rita's doing, she's on Instagram. She's at Rita Savoia _ or Breathwork Barista. Those are her two accounts there. Or if you just wanted to see what else she has available, you can find her at ritasavoia.com. I've posted some of the links already in the comments if it's easier for you guys to just go and click on them. And you can always come back to this episode also in the archives if you wanted to catch up if you weren't here for the whole thing. Thank you to everybody who showed up in the comments. This is always such a pleasure. There's Heidi again. She's love that gratitude, beautiful ladies.
Thank you,
Again,
Heidi.
empowered women empower women. This is great. And then Heidi says, these chit chats are my sanity. I feel you on that, Heidi. I'm trying to connect with like-minded people. And this is such a wonderful opportunity for me on this platform. So I really, truly appreciate it. And we hope to have Rita back. We will probably want to hear more about the retreat when she's got the details, right?
Yes, that'd be amazing for sure.
Amazing. Thank you so much, everybody. And we will see you guys next week. I'm about to put on some recaps of what the Spark Charity Support the Blazer campaign did from this past month. Actually, I feel like we spent so much time doing it that I'm still, recovering from the time. But it was such a wonderful, wonderful cause and event that I want everybody to see all the good parts in our recap. And thank you again to the UPRN, United Public Radio Network, and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are grateful for the platform. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.